Okay, so starting with today's topic, that is basal ganglia. First of all, let me tell you the basal ganglia. This topic is not a vast topic; it's a very small topic, but it's a bit complicated. Not only bit complicated; it's very complicated. If you get the grip of the entire structure and connection, it's very simple. If you don't get the grip of this connection, you will stay confused. Not only in the first MBBS, but throughout your entire MBBS you will stay confused if you don't get the grip. So, I will try to not finish this entire basal ganglia in today's class. I will just try to cover up structure and connection part of the basal ganglia in today's class, and in the next class, next one, we will cover the function as well as the pathology. The important topic in the pathology of the basal ganglia is Parkinson disease. There are so many other diseases, but first and foremost is the Parkinson disease. I said it's complicated. Why it's complicated? Because first of all, it's not a single structure. This is a group of nuclei, 5 nuclei, and these nuclei, 5 nuclei, they are not located at one place. They are scattered throughout the brain, or at least we can say throughout the base of the brain, not entire brain, base of the brain, in the basal part of the cerebral hemisphere. And again they are connected with each other, interconnection, and that is one pathway of their own interconnections. The second one is they are connected with the cortex. Third one is they are connected with the thalamus, and via the thalamus they again go back, the connection go back to the cortex. So, it is bit complicated. So, if we look at, let me go to that slide. If you look at that slide, it will give you the glimpse of how complicated it is. Look here, have the look over here. If you get the grip, it is very simple, like what all these connections are there. If you do not get the grip, it will appear as if you are present in the Chandni Chowk area and looking upwards, skywards, and those electricity wires going crisscross to each and every other shop and home, right. So, I will try my level best to make it simplified as much as possible. Okay, let us start with the structure. There are 5 nuclei. The name of this nuclei is, it starts with caudate nucleus, that is one. The second one is putamen. Third one is globus pallidus. Fourth one is substantia nigra, and fifth one is subthalamic nucleus. If we look at these embryological derivation, like which part of the embryology they are derived from out of the 5 secondary brain vesicles, the first 3 vesicles. The first and foremost was telencephalon. Telencephalon gives rise to this one, putamen and caudate nucleus, or we can say caudate nucleus and putamen, they are derivative of telencephalon as well as globus pallidus. So, first 3, caudate nucleus, putamen and globus pallidus, they are derivative of telencephalon. Subthalamic nucleus is derivative of diencephalon, that was the secondary vesicles. Substantia nigra, it is derivative of mesencephalon within the midbrain, because the midbrain, entire midbrain is derived from mesencephalon. Okay. So, the caudate nucleus, C for caudate and C for its structure or shape. If we look at the caudate nucleus in this diagram, say if we are looking at the brain from the sideways, then there is C alphabet shape structure, this purple color, this entire comma shape or C shape, this is caudate nucleus, entire purple color. Okay. And this blue part, this is putamen, and this green part means it is covered, most of the green part is covered by the blue one, it means it is located medial to the blue one, that is the thalamus. Okay, that is the thalamus. So, caudate nucleus and putamen, they have got the connection with each other like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 like these structure collectively. So, collectively caudate nucleus and putamen sometimes they can collectively called as striatum. Okay. This one. Then putamen is lateral location and medial to the putamen exactly in the juxtaposition or attached with the putamen on the medial aspect is globus pallidus. And outer part of the globus pallidus is called as globus pallidus externus and inner part is called as internus. Then there is one collection of the neurons, that nucleus is present below the thalamus, that is called as subthalamic nucleus. And the last one is substantia nigra. Nigra means dark color. Substantia nigra, it is present throughout the midbrain. It is kind of in the shape of sheet of the neurons, which has got a pigment that is neuromelanin, and this neuromelanin pigment gives them dark color. This dark color leads to the nomenclature of substantia nigra. Now, substantia nigra is further subdivided into pars compacta and pars reticulata. These two are the part of the substantia nigra. So, if we look at this cut section, like if this is how we look at the brain from the lateral aspect, and if we do this cut section, this vertical section through this black line, then it will appear as if we have removed this part away and we are looking from the back side, from the behind posteriorly, and it will appear this way. So, if we zoom in this diagram, this part, okay, these two things, they are the lateral ventricle and this one is third ventricle. The second striking feature of this structure is diagram is these white fiber, white tracks. These white tracks, they are coming from cortex and then they are joining with each other and forming one track, and that track is going through this way and it is going downward. So, this is corticospinal and corticobulbar tract. Corticospinal, corticobulbar tract, they collectively they are called as pyramidal tract because they form the pyramid in the brain stem. That is for further classes. So, just remember these are the corticospinal, corticobulbar tract, and this part of the corticospinal and corticobulbar tract, this is called as internal capsule. What is the significance of the internal capsule with relation to the basal ganglia? Few of the basal ganglia are located medial to the internal capsule and few of them are located lateral. So, this part, first before going into detail, if we do the cut section of this caudate nucleus as I said it is comma shape. So, it starts from this point and it takes the shape of this thing and ends over here. So, this is head end, this part is body end and this is tail end. So, this line through which we did the section, it crosses caudate nucleus twice, one over this end, one over this end. So, if we remove this entire part and look from the back, there will be 2 points where we will be able to visualize caudate nucleus, one at this point and one at downward point. So, the upper point is body part of the caudate nucleus and this lower point is tail end of the caudate nucleus. So, in this diagram we will zoom in, this is body part, one second. This is body part and this is tail end of the caudate nucleus. So, both of them are caudate nucleus part. Okay. So, this major chunk, the body part of the caudate nucleus, anatomically it is located lateral to the lateral ventricle and medial to the internal capsule, or we can say in between internal capsule and lateral ventricle, this is the caudate nucleus. And this green structure was thalamus. So, below the thalamus, this is subthalamic nuclei, this greenish one. So, subthalamic nuclei, and subthalamic nuclei means one over here, one on this side. Subthalamic nucleus and caudate nucleus, they are medial to the internal capsule. And what is lateral to the internal capsule? This blue structure. This outer blue part, this thick part, this is putamen. And then there are two more bluish thing. They are part of the globus pallidus. Outer part is our external part and this is internal part. This outer part is called as globus pallidus externus and inner part is called as globus pallidus internus. So, these three things, they are in the shape of lenticular or lentiform. That is why putamen and globus pallidus collectively is also known as lentiform nucleus. So, putamen and globus pallidus collectively is called lentiform nucleus. Caudate nucleus and putamen is collectively called as striatum. So, you might need mnemonic. Mnemonic for this one is LPG, liquid petroleum gas. L for lentiform, P for putamen, G for globus pallidus. And what about the striatum? That mnemonic is not as simple as LPG, it is CPS. Caudate nucleus and putamen is called as S for striatum, right. Okay. Now, the fifth one of the basal ganglia is substantia nigra. This part is the substantia nigra, this. It is present throughout the midbrain, dark color structure. So, there are the 5 basal ganglia we have covered. There are so many other structures doing the different cut section, either through the coronal section or frontal section. This is when we do the vertical section. Then there is one more nucleus, this one cut section, say this one. If the plane of the section happens to be the horizontal, means we remove this part of the brain and then look from above, how it will appear. It will appear this way when we are looking from above. These part are the lateral ventricle, this white part is internal capsule, I will zoom in, okay. And in between the internal capsule and the lateral ventricle is caudate nucleus, this is the caudate nucleus. And the second structure was subthalamic nucleus. Subthalamic nucleus will be somewhere below this, but it is not visible in this diagram. Why it is not visible, I will tell you, but first let us see what is visible. One is caudate nucleus. The second thing we can see lateral to the internal capsule is putamen and globus pallidus. So, 3 of the basal nuclei or basal ganglia are visible: caudate nucleus, putamen and globus pallidus. We are not able to visualize the subthalamic nucleus and substantia nigra. Why? Why we are not able? Because we have done plane of the section is horizontal and we are visualizing from above. We chop this part off and then we are looking from above, and subthalamic nucleus will be below the thalamus. So, it will be somewhere over here and substantia nigra will be in the brain stem, but we are looking at this level. That is why subthalamic nucleus and substantia nigra is not visible in this plane of the section. Okay. Then there is few more diagram. If we enhance that internal capsule relation of the caudate nucleus and lentiform nucleus with respect to the internal capsule, this will be the diagram. Try to practice of drawing these different diagram. It will make easier to remember the thing. Okay. So, draw the diagram on rough pages. That is like the caudate nucleus, this caudate nucleus again in this diagram, this entire yellow part is caudate nucleus. This is head end, this is body end, this is tail end, and medial to this thing is thalamus, and on the lateral aspect that we are not able to visualize, that is the putamen and globus pallidus. Okay.